This is a quick video to show you how to use Excel to find the bond market price, and I'm going to explain some of the terms as we go through it. So here's an example from one student in your class, and you have the market price of a 100,000 10-year 5% bond issue. Okay, that's a lot of words. What does that mean? That at the end of 10 years, the company is going to give back $100,000 in bonds. Okay, so each bond is worth $1,000, so you got 100 bonds that are being sold. So 10 years, 5% bond issue means it's related to the bond itself, and that's called the stated rate, and that is what is written on the bond issue. So think of it's a financial instrument written down, and it's printed 5% annual rate. Okay, so that's your stated. Then it gets over here and it says it's sold to yield an effective rate of 3%. Okay, so what's going on is that between the time that they printed the bonds and the time that they issued the bonds, the interest rate has fallen for the market, right? Given the typical risk in the timing of this bond issue. So now you can only get bonds usually that are only returning 3%. Well, what's going to happen if we're paying 5% and the market in general is only paying 3%? Everybody's going to want our 5%. That pushes up demand and that pushes the price up. So we know this is going to happen. So the bond issue price is adjusted accordingly. And it's sold so that you will only get a 3% rate of interest. So what amount of money has to be given today so that we receive interest payments every 6 months, and at the end of the 10 years we're going to get the 100,000 back. So that's the explanation of the words, how they map into Excel. I have the standard parameters. I actually keep this on my computer and I just pull it up and then it's already there. And so I typed in the number of periods is 20 because it's 10 years, twice a year. The rate. It's usually given to us as an annual rate, so I took the 3%. You always use the effective rate to do the discounting. I cut that in half because it's every 6 months, so 1.5%. I'm going to search for PV payment. Every 6 months, the bondholders will get a check for $2,500. All right, how did I get that? I took the total amount, the principal, times the rate, times the time. The rate is printed on the bond certificate. You cannot get out of it. It's a legal contract. So when you multiply those out every 6 months, there's going to be a $2,500 payment. Type, this is a type 0. It's an ordinary annuity because the payment comes at the end of each period. So at the end of the first 6 months is when you first get the first payment. And the future value is going to be 100,000. So in order to solve, I'm going to plug in the parameters here, and we'll just go ahead, formulas, and I know I recently used the PV, so I'm going to just plug in these. And I'm going to do negative 2,500. Oops, I should have just negative, click on that so it's already there. Future value, negative, and the reason they're both negative is they're both cash pay out. So think of what's cash paying in. So the outs are both negative, the in is positive. And then the type I can leave blank or I can put a 0 in, and I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And that's what Excel gives me back. And I'm going to go over here to my problem and see if I have something that looks like that, and I do. It rounded up, and I'm going to check the answer, and I got an excellent. I love that. All right, so hopefully that helps, and send more questions in as you have them.